good.
Find out. So, book 2 now done, and the first one was full of magic and genies and was funny, and this one was not. Very serious, not a single magic character.
No, I mean it was serious for the most part, but there were some funny
There were
moments
some funny
with
moments.
the other stories.
A good amount of green in my shirt. I wonder if there's going to be like holes through it. So what'd you think?
I thought there was a gravitas to this book that I didn't sense so much in the first book. It said a little more serious. It wasn't as funny, but it was just as enjoyable, I thought.
I like this one too, whereas like the other one was like stories within stories within stories within stories. This one was like a history lesson. Random like historical people show up. First story, one of the mothers was an actual person. Like there's a lot of like truth in this one that's different than the one about, people stuck in cement blocks and,
Yeah.
and finding multicolored fish. Yeah, quite the departure.
Yeah, there weren't as many stories nested inside one another with this one, like the Matryoshka. I think the first few stories were, and then the last few stories of the book were, but then we had that huge section in the middle.
Almost like a precursor to a novel. Like it wasn't like, because back when this was made, it was all like oral storytelling, and then all of a sudden there's this giant story. It was almost told like a novel, where like the characters were made and they went on their adventures, and then they came back for like the big climactic battle. Quite literally,
Holy War.
I didn't see that coming.
I liked how the characters were somehow tied together, even though they had their own adventures. Harder than I thought.
So this one had like 3 stories, so it's not like there was like 1,000 things and we pick and choose 1,000 things. Like the first one was kind of weird though. It was like there was the 2 wazirs and they went to get the girl, and then the son fell in love, and then then the bad wazir came and tried to sell her at the market.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Like, I don't know. It was kind of strange.
Yes.
This one, at the end of the story, there was like some sort of build up, and then it ended with the main character sat up. The end. But this story actually is one of the most popular ones in all. Like it's one of the earliest ones, so it shows up in all the different versions more than almost any other story.
I just thought it was sort of odd. I mean, the first 2 stories were good, but then it sort of veered off into this long story that built up to the Holy War.
And the next one was the one with the guy who was going through the funeral, and he falls asleep in the tree.
Yes, and then the 3 eunuchs came. They were trying to get rid of the chest with the woman in it.
They fell in love, but she goes, "You can only do things after you drug me up and give me lots to drink and I fall asleep." So that was their thing. Drink her bang, which is actually weed. They had this happy little relationship. He took her feet and he kissed them, and he found them to be like white cream, so he rubbed them all over his face. Like it's such random detail.
After the 3 eunuchs leave, he gets down from the tree and he finds her in the chest and he takes her home, but then he discovers that she's the concubine, right, of the caliph.
Yeah.
Once he discovered that fact, he felt that she was off limits to him.
Correct.
Okay.
They were in love with each other, and she goes to find him.
The caliph found out and sent some of his guards over to ransack his house.
It's a happy ending.
That's right. Oh, ended up meeting in the mosque.
You can have my concubine because I'm now in love with your sister. The eunuch story, they get to the 3rd eunuch after these previous 2 stories, and they were like, nope, no story from you, and they just went on. I thought that was funny based on like the style of the book. The eunuchs, his name translated to lucky. I was like, well, how could he be lucky if he's, Yeah, he was the special type. Lost the eggs but kept the sausage. Women loved him. And that's why he was so lucky, because they didn't have to worry about things with.
Oh, that's right. They were all telling each other how they became eunuchs.
He would have the affair, and then they got caught. The second eunuch was the one who always told the lie.
Yes. Oh, that was funny. Oh, wow. Like, I think drastic consequences.
Oh, he told the one family he told the guy that his wife and children were dead. And then he went across town and told the wife that their husband was dead, so they both destroyed their houses.
That's right.
All was lost, and then they found each other, and he
all in one piece.
The little boy was no longer all in one piece.
I don't remember what happened to him.
I remember he was all sad at the end, but I would be sad too. And then it gets to the novel,
which is the longest part of the book. It makes up the bulk.
It is the bulk of it. It's actually the longest story in the entire night, because they do this big holy war. One of the main characters is just killed. His brother's all upset. Wazir Dandan goes, "Let me tell you a story." It's like, wait, what?
That's right. To relieve the king's troubled heart.
Shere Khan grew up a little bit. Once he met his brother and had the child with his sister.
that was very interesting.
I didn't know it was his sister, in his defense.
The mother of the one who eventually became king, the twins.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce their names. Do you know their names?
I knew there was the Z at the beginning and the Z at the end.
Yes. So it was just basically about avenging their loved ones. Princess Abritsa's grandmother, who is King Hardub's mother.
Wadi.
Yes. She wreaked a lot of havoc. Look, I didn't laugh out loud as much with this one.
Until the end.
That was funny.
There's a lot of jokes about a rooster. I don't know. This one was so serious. And the history stuff was kind of hard to get through sometimes.
Very tedious, and it went on and on and on and on and on.
But this one had some of the best footnotes so far, I thought. Talking about Moses. And
I don't remember that one.
Okay, I don't know how true this is or not, but according to Sir Richard Francis Burton, so I don't mix him up this time with Richard Burton, who's afraid of Virginia Woolf. According to Sir Richard Francis Burton, the name derived from a word that meant boy, but was also like a vulgar way to say water. So it came out so it translated eventually it became Moses, which I thought was neat. It's like this weird information just randomly thrown in there.
Yeah, it just
popped in. The one about how they loved women with big booties and how they would line them up in a row and then look and see who had the largest, and that was the woman for them. A lot of talk about butts in this one. It's hard to talk about this book sometimes and keep it PG.
Yeah, that's what surprised me most about these books. I just didn't expect them to have to include so much of that.
He didn't edit anything. He just went with it.
But it works somehow. I'm very surprised, even with the discursive material and the superfluous footnotes and what have you. It just reads. I enjoyed reading it.
It's got a flow to it. It's not poetry, but there's certain parts that you feel the beat of poetry. My favorite word from this one was Capapiece.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Like that.
From head to toe.
Head to toe.
He actually sent me to the dictionary a couple of times. With this one, gosh, poniard is supposedly a poisoned dagger, and then beldam, I think, was the word that they use for Dawahi, the old woman.
Like he said in his introduction, he would just take words from all these different languages and just drop them in. We were getting better at this, getting the drinks. We're getting smarter.
I know.
Eventually, we'll come up with a name for this transitional segment.
Is this the bonus section?
Yeah. We're Devil in the White City.
It was a lot better than I thought. It's been on my radar because I kept seeing it, but I didn't even realize that it was that is nonfiction. But it was quite spellbinding. I didn't think that I would enjoy reading about architecture and how Henry H. Holmes went on his murderous rampage. I mean, but that was quite terrifying. I mean, just how he lured these women to their deaths.
No, yeah, no, it was fascinating.
Oh, God.
We're all hopped up on caffeine.
Oh, dear.
So this part about the serial killer, that's going to be neat. And it was like how he did it, and how he made the buildings, and how he like killed off his workers. He was twisted, and I loved how the fact you never knew. He sounded so honest, but you never knew it was a lie or not.
Mm-hmm.
And even I think by the end, he didn't know what was a lie or not. Like, he was a fascinating character. I was hoping it wasn't going to be one of those ones where I like have to get past the architecture stuff to get to the murder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the architecture stuff was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And like I never thought I'd be so fascinated with something like the Ferris wheel. How like the first one was like trolley cars hung up in the air.
It recounted the building of the world's Columbian Exposition of 1893. The chapters were interspersed between that fact and then Holmes killed his
family.
Yeah.
All his wives.
Yeah. When they no longer served his purpose, he got rid of them. Terrifying.
Storm comes, and the Ferris wheel stops, and they describe the people stuck at top seeing this tornado coming at them. I would have had to change my pants. Heights and tornadoes. But I would definitely read something else by Larson.
I also read the Best American Food Writing of 2018. It combines two of my very favorite things, essays and food. One of the essays that I enjoyed most out of here is titled NBA's Secret Sandwich Addiction. The sandwich that they all love, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh, that's what I got for lunch. I eat those like every day.
So don't take away the NBA's peanut butter and...
Wait, they're trying to take them away?
Nutritionists didn't think that it was the healthiest thing for them to eat, so they would try to substitute healthier sandwiches, but the players wouldn't have any of it.
PB&J is the primo food.
PB&J.
If you make it yourself and you don't buy them.
I also read Wild Game, and this was fascinating. It's a memoir, and it's about a mother-daughter relationship and the secrets that bound them together. The relationship was also threatened to be ruined, I guess, by that same secret. It was heartbreaking, but it was very good. I enjoyed it. My friend Anna, this is another memoir, but it was a little... So it's about Anna Delvey, and she posed as a German heiress, and she conned people out of thousands of dollars. And the author befriended her. She was in the hole, I think, for $62,000.
Did you friend her knowing that she was conning, or did they just become friends and she found out?
They became friends. Anna would pick up like the tab at restaurants and whatnot, and then ended up booking a trip to Marrakesh, and then that's when everything fell apart. Her credit card stopped working. Rachel, the author, had no choice but to pick up the tab, and it all snowballed from there.
Recommend or would recommend?
I would give it 3 out of 5 stars.
Okay. So I read number 10 of My Hero Academia.
The series?
And the kids love it. It's okay.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not the greatest. Unless you're one of the teens that come to the anime club, then it's the best book I've ever read. Finished the Percy Jackson series. It's no Harry Potter. It's not bad. But if you read Percy Jackson, then you have to read The Lost Hero.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, obviously. Starts a new series, and actually, this one might be better than the Percy Jackson series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, because I think Riordan by now has a flow and knows things, and he drops in characters, Spoiler alert, since Percy's on the cover of the next one, Percy Jackson shows up in these. So far, out of all the Percy Jackson books I've read, I'd say this one's the best one. So
And you've read many.
yeah. Teens love some Percy Jackson.
Once again, we didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
probably should start doing
Okay.
that again. I'm still Ryan.
I'm Joy.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and we forgot to just mention that. What day are we up to now? 122 or 123?
I was gonna ask you about that too. How short are these nights? Like it'll start and then the next page it'll be the next night. Like
That's
are
right.
they,
That's
like,
right.
In daylight savings time.
Yeah.
It was a weird. This one's different.
Shah Khan.
I kept saying Shah Khan because it reminded me of Shere Khan. So
Okay.
I picture him as a tiger, and it was
Okay.
this weird thing in my head.
Do you remember when Shah Khan first came upon them in the woods? The Wahi and Princess Abritsa were wrestling. Maybe they were just practicing.
They like to wrestle because remember, like that's how Shah Khan met.
Yes.
Grizzly was the wrestling match.
Yes.
And he was so smitten by her beauty that he kept losing.
Yes.
So that's how they met. So maybe they just like to wrestle at the Christian monastery. Part of the reason I liked the Wahi too was like she did the whole like Emperor's New Clothes thing, where she was like trying to get the twin brother and his wazir captured. So like he's like she can't hear us, and she's screaming as they're marching through the Christian camp.
That's right.
And she keeps talking really loud, and so they start finally going like, "Ha, you can't hear us."
That's
And
right.
then they capture him. They're like, "Don't you see this man?" And they were like, "No, we don't see him." So they're all playing this joke on him to put them in the cave. That's what I like too. When they say the phrase "fire upon," they actually literally mean to burn them with fire. And I thought that was really neat.
Yeah.
Because there's no like guns or arrows or anything. They're all fighting with swords and javelins. They literally caught them on fire. And they refer to a fireman. It's not someone who puts out fire. It's someone who like maintains fire.
Yes,
and keeps
the
fire
stoker.
Going. All this plays on fire.
Mhm.
There's a lot of neat stuff in these books.
I am enjoying them a lot more than I thought I would. It somehow works. And I wonder if the third unit will ever get to tell us his story.
So you're saying something's missing?
I am.
I guess since it's on YouTube and stuff, we should do the whole like and subscribe thing. Point at just the right spot and be like, hit that.
Wait, is it
bell.
down there or here?
I can't remember if it's hit that bell icon. Oh, they like put in the comments and we can. I mean, I guess if anyone. There's recommendations. We'll try to read them.
Yes, recommendations. I would love to have recommendations.
And
Yeah.
we're still figuring it out.
It's fun, though.
Ready?
I think so.
But those other ones, man, there's a lot of syphilis involved.
Okay, so I guess, yeah.